Does your MW3 game look like ass? Well, here's how to make it look just like this. But first off, let's go ahead and start with the controller settings. I don't have any of this button layout stuff changed. Dead zones, you can have them at whatever is comfortable for your controller. It'll vary by each controller. Then we're going to go to the gameplay settings. I personally have mine on 7.7 with 0.85. I know plenty of people that have it on 6.6 with 0.8. Whatever multiplier feels right to you. Make sure you have it on dynamic instead of linear or standard. Dynamic makes it for where essentially it'll change it from where if you're barely moving your control, if you're barely moving it, it'll slow it down when you're moving it a lot versus when you're barely moving it at all. It's better for more precise aiming instead of just standard and linear. Linear is just a direct, goes the same speed regardless of how fast you're moving it. Make sure you turn your ADS sensitivity timing to instant. Then make sure you have aim assist on, obviously, guys. What's the point of using a controller if not? Then have default over Black Ops. Black Ops got nerfed about a year ago at this point. Then we got auto tac sprint on, auto move off, simple tap on, airborne mantle off, airborne auto grounding off. Then you want slide only because diving is absolute worthless in this game. Got the sprinting door bash on because you don't want to have to stop and turn that on. Here's my settings. I'm just going to scroll through them a little bit for you. Most of them are default, if I'm being honest. All right, let's go ahead and do the graphics one, which is why you guys are here. Let's be honest here. Yes, I do have quite a nice GPU. Make sure you have it on full screen borderless or full screen exclusive. I like tabbing in between my monitors while I'm playing, so I have full screen borderless. If you don't do that, full screen exclusive is exactly what you need to be using. All right, we got ultra low latency plus boost. You'll want the plus boost on if you're on a NVIDIA graphics card. These don't really matter. Make sure you turn VSync off. VSync is ass cheeks. Make sure you customize it to what your monitor's FPS is, +5. So my monitor is 144 hertz monitor, so I do it +5 to 149, 150. When it's out of focus, just turn it down. There's no reason to just have your GPU running at max when you're tabbed out on YouTube or whatever you're doing. Now here we have the quality settings, which is what everyone wants. Make sure it has 100%, whatever yours is. Mine's a 1080p monitor. If it's a 1440p, 4K, whatever it is. Turn dynamic resolution off. How can I say this? In my experience, it made it for where it seemed a lot more glitchy and a lot more not stable. Make sure you turn it on to fidelity cast. A lot of these other ones just feel really smooth and like pudding, in all honesty. It doesn't look good. The only one that looks really good is fidelity cast. It makes it for where you can actually see the people, like the actual details of the people and the actual outline of the people instead of just being really smooth, is the lack of the better word. VRAM scale 90, variable rating shading off. Trust me, you want that off. Normal texture, there's a huge diminishing returns between normal and high for your FPS and the difference that you can tell. Do not turn this on low. Low, it looks like utter garbage, as you guys saw in the thumbnail, but low is the bare minimum of what you should have it on. Otherwise, your game's just gonna look like poop and you're not gonna like it at all. But normal is the sweet honeypot that I've noticed. You want this on high, depth of field off, make it look better. Depth of field normal or low. High is way too congested. As you can see between these two images, you'll just have way too much grass. Yes, it does look better. There is no denying that it does look better with high, but you'll be able to see people way easier with normal or with low. Particle resolution, very low. Yes, it looks significantly better with high. As you can see in this little sample picture, I think it's behind my fat head. It is behind my fat head, like I thought. You guys know what it looks like. Extremely detailed versus not. There is no reason to be torching your FPS like it does, because no one's going to look at this frame by frame when there's a thermite into the ground exploding. Just turn on very low. You'll thank me later. Bullet sprays I have on because I love knowing my recoil pattern. Persistent effects off. Shade quality high. This is the defining factor, in my opinion, to what makes your game look good or bad. High will make it look amazing. Medium will make it look all right, but don't put it on low unless your computer just simply cannot handle it. Turn on-demand texture streaming off. You literally get lag spikes just from having this on if your internet sucks. Now, shadow quality also matters a lot. Put it on high or put it on normal. Very low, it'll look like blocky, it'll look like Minecraft. Ultra will just be sucking your GPU and your CPU and making it for where it won't run right. Ambient inclusion off, screen space off, shadow quality is high, as I was saying earlier. Screen space reflection normal. You can have it on normal, you can have it on off. I like how it looks, so I have it on normal, but high will literally suck your GPU VRAM, or not your CPU, your GPU VRAM so much. Then we have the static qualities low. Low versus high doesn't really matter, as you can see between the two pictures. It's just how pretty it looks. Having it on high will torch your frame rate, in all honesty, and there's not much of a difference between the two of them. Tessellation off, terrain min, volumetric low, off, off, off. Just turn these off. There is no reason to have water quality on, if I'm being honest, because otherwise you will struggle to hit your shots if you're ever in the water. Now here we have view. I have it at 117. That's just what I found to be a nice sweet spot for your aim assist. Now, whether it's actually true or not, or if it's just a placebo effect, I don't actually know. You could probably max it out to 120 and be perfectly fine. Here we have affected. You do want this affected. As you can see between the two of them, between affected and independent, you'll have way less visual recoil with affected than you will independent. Trust me, go into the firing range and you'll actually see it for yourself. Weapon field of view, wide, 90, doesn't really matter. I don't play third person. Vehicles, you do want this on wide. Motion blur off, 0. You want this as low as possible because motion blur will make your game look like ass. Utter cheeks, same with weapon motion blur. Why do I want to have a blurry mess when I'm trying to turn on some kid? Filigrane off. Yes, it looks cinematic and all for the campaign, but it looks like utter ass in game. Just straight up looks bad. 0, 50, 50, 30 game perspective. You do want this if you do spectate your friends a lot. The helmet view just doesn't look good IMO. And blurting, flashbang on or off, whatever your personal preference is. It just makes me freak out whenever my monitor goes pitch black instead of white. Audio settings, the best way I can do is PC speaker is the best right now on launch day. Just straight up the best. It takes your highs that you have problems hearing sometimes and then lowers them just a little bit and you'll hear them so much better. I'm gonna have a whole TikTok coming out about this, comparing the different type of audio mixes, because typically I always use home theater, but I've noticed that PC speaker like crunches them just a little bit more so you can hear them a lot better, especially if you're an earbud user like myself. Stereo, obviously you don't want Windows default. For your volume levels, just do whatever your personal preference is. This is mine because I kind of have it cranked up on this actual sound EQ. So I hear it a lot more. Fiddle with this so that you can hear footsteps. That's all that matters. Make sure voice chat's lower than dialogue volume and make sure your effects volume's a little higher. Make sure you turn off gameplay music and cinematic music. Those are just distracting factors. Unless you do like the immersion, that's a completely different story. Do make sure you reduce your tendonitis sound. You know that high-pitched whirring sound you get whenever you get flashbanged or stunned? Yeah, that's this sound. I hate the sound of that, so I just turn it. I turn it on so it reduces the sound of it, so it's not as loud and painful in your ears. War track as passengers. That's up to you guys. Just vibe with the music. I have it on. Juggernaut music I have on just because I love the vibes of when you actually have your Juggernaut streak, which rarely happens. Let's be honest. May as well enjoy it. You know, just enjoy being cranked out to high. Let's have an interface on. Subtitles default, obviously. Minimap. You want HUD bounds to whatever you like. Personally, this is just the one I use. I use the default one. Make sure you turn your minimap on to square. Just look how much extra room that you see on the map. You see this whole corner over here, corners. Just turn it on. Just turn it on to square instead of round. There's no reason not to. Make sure you turn the minimap rotation on so you're not taking out any guesswork of what you're actually seeing. Horizontal compass I have on. Crosshairs, make sure you put them on static. While yes, having them just on by default will vary the size of them and it's fine. But just having them by default, if you've ever played CSGO or Valorant, you know that you just need to have it on static. That way it's not fluctuating and you actually know what you need to see when you need to see it. You can also turn it off. Apparently, if you turn it off, there's actually just, where is that? Show. So you can turn it off and then turn on just the center dot. So you don't have the crosshair, but you have just the center dot. So you know exactly where the center of your screen is. I can't do that. I'm not cracked enough for that. I just have it on static so it doesn't fluctuate when I'm moving around the map and it stays in the exact same size. Hit markers on, damage-based markers on. Telemetry I have custom on. I have FPS counter, latency, packet loss, and clock just because I like to know what time it is. But if you want to, you can turn on CPU processor and GPU processor. Telemetry data size, just default size, don't care. Connection timer off, in-game status on, hardware icons on, and then there's the rest of them. And I'm not going to dox myself by going over to the account and network information. Let me know in the comments below what you guys are thinking about the new MW3. I'm in love with it. Don't worry guys, I'm busy finding glitches, busy doing class setups. Everything that you want from me, I will do. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want like an in-depth movement guide. Thinking about doing it because slide canceling's back, the savior of COD, unironically. Anyways, guys, we'll see you fudging later. Goodbye.